Hi guys, before we, just a quick thing before we start the panel proper, I just wanted to give a quick shout out to the Christmas Changeling who has doing free art and has made this little piece of Truly for me just now, and I think it's really nice, it's really cute, and I just wanted to shout out to her, and you're free to check out her work, and I'll provide links in the description below, and also I want her to say hi. Say hi. She's great, really good art, and especially for free, that's very good. But with that said, enjoy the panel. Okay. So, forgive my lateness, welcome to the Generation Inspiration panel, where I will be, and me and my co-host will be looking back at the direct references, Easter eggs, and all that fun stuff from previous generations that we see in this current generation of Friendship is Magic. So, some of you may know me as Doughboy123x or SazerLight on DeviantArt. I mostly make random nonsense, funny videos, though I do want to try to expand at some point soon. And on my DeviantArt, I just make simple drawings. I've done 3D art, but I could always try to go back in Blender. I'm the host today, and my first co-host is Al1701. Say hello.
Hello.
Tell us a bit about yourself.
Well, I'm the guy who did a review of the entire Dream Valley continuity of My Little Pony. I actually haven't been all that active online lately. I'm on YouTube, I'm on DeviantArt, but I haven't been doing much. I have to admit, I'm actually kind of getting out of Pony. I've kind of gone back to photography, though definitely not on YouTube because, well, issues.
Yeah, he used to do quite a bit of YouTube content, but he's sort of stopped. But I still talk to him quite frequently. Also, one more thing. I'll try to speak a little softer and a little bit further away from the microphone, because I think you might be a bit too loud.
How's that?
That's fine. Maybe if you speak a little bit slower, you'll be okay.
Okay.
Next we have Starbats. Say hello.
Hello, everybody. I go by Starbat on DeviantArt. I've done a fair bit of pony artwork over the last several years. Not been quite so active lately. I'm trying to get back into it. I've been a long-time fan of Generation 1 from way back in the early days, and it usually delights me when I see G4 making references to it and kind of giving honor to where MLP came from originally. So that's why I'm here.
I see. Good to see you. And yeah, some of you may know he's really good artwork, and I think he's also done some work with Dr. Wolf as of late with both scripting and art. So
Yeah.
that's interesting.
I work with Dr. Wolf, yeah.
And of course we have Springheart the Llama, aka Ginkadia. Say hello.
Hello everyone, I'm Springheart the Llama, aka Jinkida. I have a YouTube channel, which is Springheart, and I also make pony art on DeviantArt. I'm expanding out, doing some anime, and just basically I just make cute art of stuff. So yeah, that's my shtick.
Thank you very much.
So fluffy.
Thank you
I'm
very
very fluffy.
Indeed she is. Also, hey guys, I wonder if Discord would be clearer than Skype. Maybe Skype is the problem. We should try. We need to test that sometime.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hello.
Shall we continue? Anyway, shall we?
We need to get the show on the road.
Yeah, let's.
Technical difficulties.
Let's proceed.
Let's move.
Okay, so let us begin. Best place to begin is, of course, with our favorite silly pony, Applejack, who for the longest time I did not know was in Generation 3, but apparently she is. But yep, there she is. We all know her in the first generation. She is portrayed as gluttonous, clumsy. Would you say lazy, or am I getting that wrong?
No, not so much lazy. It's just that she's a clumsy glutton.
Yeah, you clumsy glutton. Which
Spends a lot of the time in the orchard just eating the apples you're supposed to be tending.
Yeah. I mean, one of the first stories to feature her in the comic in the UK was she ate all the apples, so to teach her a lesson, Majesty put crabs up into the apple trees so that when she would go to eat them, they'd pinch her.
Yeah, and in the
Crab apples.
yeah, in the current generation, we of course have the Applejack that we all know and love, and it's kind of an interesting. It kind of makes sense in a different way. She's the hardworking, Westerner, takes care of crops, cares a lot about family and all that good stuff. Is very stubborn, often to a fault.
We've got a few cases that suggest that she has an infamous appetite, particularly when she was a foal.
That could be the case too. Maybe that's an inspiration. And of course, we have the Gen 3 Applejack, who actually is a background pony. So direct all your jokes there, please. That's much more accurate.
And actually, she probably played a role in the design of Big Mac in terms of his coloration.
That might be true, though the green hair throws me off. But let's move on. Yeah, but let's move on to one that I'm sure you all want to see. You all know the line.
Oh, how the mighty fell.
Oh, everyone's favorite pony.
Pretty much, she was Rarity back in the day. Always saying darling. Everyone knows she dresses in style, but that was a G3.5 reference as opposed to G3 in general.
Actually, to start G4, she was kind of the more sagely ponies. And yes, she was constantly referring to people as darlings, which actually goes all the way back to Heartthrob. And she would always. She was kind of Rudy Giuliani, except instead of 9/11, it was a now, a verb, and rainbows.
Yeah, just complete 180 with this character change, because the one we all know now is the very cocky, very athletic, very sporty, very tomboyish, very egotistical Pegasus that we know.
Yeah. Personality with Rainbow Dash and G4 was, I think, referenced or inspired by Firefly, which is a different color scheme. But,
she was originally going to be Firefly, but Hasbro changed it to Rainbow Dash because that was more relevant at the time. So
yeah, the thing is, I think Firefly is glad that she does not have a direct relationship with Rainbow Dash, considering the character.
Yeah, let's move on. Pinkie Pie's an interesting case because the original is I think they're both kind of know-it-alls, but in a different way. The original was very. The way she talks is very odd. Like she's always talking down to you. It's really weird.
Well, one of the things you have to understand about G3 was it was directed to the 3 to 6 demographics. So
very little kids.
Yeah, very little kids. So that's probably why the tone was very. Adult or older sibling to a little kid throughout G3.
Yeah, and side note, you know that innkeeper in that episode, what was it called? Daring Dun? The innkeeper that Pinkie and Rainbow Dash ask about Daring Do and everything, shares the same voice actress as G3 Pinkie, and now I cannot unhear it. Let's move on. Rarity is another quite of a flip case. In the original, she's a mischievous child and likes to go on adventures and everything, whereas the Rarity we know now is the complete opposite of that. It's like Rainbow and Rarity switched places.
Yeah, and we're introduced to one of Spring's pet peeves about G3, manes and tails not matching.
Yeah.
That's right.
Just my eyes. I can't.
We're going to see another one of those later.
Glory and Majesty were, in terms of color scheme, inspiring the design of Rarity, ultimately.
Yeah. I would have really liked to have seen Glory's bright blue streak in Rarity's mane.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to say anything yet, but yeah, I mean, it's an interesting shift, and I guess it's just the same thing I thought was Rainbow Dash. It's just weird that obviously it's Rarity because for the sake of relevancy, because that was what's new at the time, but the personality could not be any more different. It's so bizarre. Next we have Spike. He has a very interesting lineage. I like all three. I like all three of them for odd reasons. The first one's definitely more of a I think Generation 1 and 4 are pretty similar. The third one definitely stands out.
Yeah.
Well, originally, Spike started out as Majesty's pet. That was the original concept of him, along with Brandy the dog, with Lemon Drop, Twinkles the cat, with Peachy, and I am not making this up, Duck Soup the duck with Sprinkles / Cascade, depending on what side of the Atlantic you were on.
Yeah.
So, so he was essentially the pony's pet in G1, just a pet that talks and could actually do things.
And then Scorpion's pet, essentially.
If I had to choose a favorite, it'd be a pretty close tie between actually G3 and G4, because I really like G4's Spike. I think he's really likable. I think he's just a character that I always look up to. I always admire him. G3 is kind of different because. Oh yeah, definitely. And
I like G3.
Yeah, G3 Spike is interesting because he's very regal, very.
He's voiced like a cheetah.
That too. Yeah, very very. What's the word? Very proper. Very.
Yeah.
Very regal.
In Gen 3, he's very knowledgeable. Like this is a very different Spike from all the other ones.
Yeah, he's 1,000 years old.
Yeah, but he still knows that he is a baby dragon when he wakes up. It's so weird. He's like, no, I am still a baby.
Yeah.
But I am smart, baby. Allow me to give you the plot that you need to get where you need to go.
And G4 is the first time he gets wings. Took long enough, but he finally got him.
You'd say he was a wise sage in a baby's body.
Let's move on, because I think we're going to ramble on Spike too much. Scootaloo honestly hasn't changed too much, would you say? Outside of the fact that,
She upgraded from rollerblades to skateboard with handle.
Scooter.
Actually, trying to be a step back. Skateboards were the 80s, rollerblades were the 90s. So she went from being a 90s kid to an 80s kid.
Use scooters in the 2000s, whatever.
Not too much to say here. They're essentially pretty similar. I mean, obviously the G3 doesn't have much backstory, but then again, we hardly knew anything about Scootaloo's backstory in G4 until Season 9, or Season 7, depending on how you look at it. So, yeah, pretty similar.
Their cutie marks are different.
Sweetie Belle, I'm not as sure. I haven't been paying too much attention to this one. Could you explain, you guys? I mean, the only thing I can say is that Sweetie Belle is my favorite CMC. That's all I can really say. I don't know much about the G3 version.
Well, actually, one of the things that's I mean, there's not much to say in comparison because, like I said, basically, both are kids. I will say that with G4 Sweetie Belle, she's the one who felt like she was the one who was actually making a legitimate effort to grow up. And do it the proper way while Apple Bloom and Screw were forcing it. And actually, because we could see the evolution of her magic, we could actually tell that she was maturing, as well as in relationship with Rarity.
What about G3? What about G3, Sweetie Belle? Is there really just nothing to say?
Well, basically, she was really just companions with Scootaloo. Like I said, they were like the two youngest ponies in the group, particularly when we got to the Core 7, or as some call it the Bore 7. They were the two kids who hung out with 5 other adults.
And Scootaloo were introduced together in G4 as well as Apple's new friends, so there's that connection. And she was a companion of Scootaloo in G3.
Yeah, she was pretty much the same. She was like good-natured and optimistic, so same personality, pretty much.
Pretty similar, but I just like the CMC Sweetie Belle. She's just so adorable. I love her.
Very cute.
Yes.
Cheerilee, honestly, hasn't changed too much either, despite being a different species altogether. They're both teachers.
Yeah. And also, to be honest, Cheerilee really fell off the face of the earth about halfway through the series.
That's very unfortunate, because I wanted to really like Cheerilee more.
Yeah.
It's because the cool new school opened up.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's right.
Only one thing I could say is that in G3, she was teaching Rarity to become a princess or something like that, of the rainbow or something. So she was actually more like Celestia in that case. Would you agree?
They're actually a whole lot more helpful than Celestia. Celestia is basically like, this is the problem, you figure it out. Well, by the way, if you fail Equestria's screwed.
Yeah, we could debate about that all day in a whole other panel or something.
Let's
Oh, this one is interesting because we all love G4 Moondancer. She's has such an interesting backstory. There was a lot of potential for her. Whereas the original, she only had like a couple lines. That's the best picture of her I could get.
Yeah. Though actually, her backcard story is far more interesting because she's vindictive.
Yeah, I would interpret her as like a passive-aggressive kind of personality almost.
No, full-on aggressive. She put Cotton Candy to sleep for eating her favorite flowers.
Yeah, and then she was scolded by Her Majesty, and she relented after that. But
yeah,
in a sense, you could also say Moondancer for a while was very passive-aggressive, just for a very different reason.
But, it's kind of too bad that Hasbro was making a Starlight Glimmer toy instead of a Moondancer toy. Because I still say to this day, Moondancer would have made a better student than Starlight Glimmer. But that's another point of debate.
As much as I love Starlight Glimmer, I will agree. I think Moondancer probably would have been a better student because I think that would have made more sense. It would have tied things together a little more. But
Yeah, a lot of baggage. I won't get into that.
Okay, so here's one that's much more direct of a reference. Twilight Velvet. I put that in parentheses because the original Twilight Velvet from G1 wasn't called Twilight Velvet. It was just Twilight.
Not to be confused with the Sosa Pegasus released a couple years afterward.
Oh yeah, there are numerous different Twilights over the years. But these are the two that we know most. The original from G1 and Twilight Velvet that we know is Twilight Sparkle's mother.
Actually, Pegasus Twilight probably had more lines, more personality. But yeah, everybody knows.
Yeah, so the fact that Twilight Velvet.
Yeah, I mean they are both motherly, just once again in a different way. The original was very motherly towards Ember, not the dragon Ember, a little pony named Ember.
Right.
So, and of course the Twilight Velvet we know now didn't really get much. Twilight's parents in general didn't really get much to do until like season 7. And we found out she's an adrenaline junkie.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Shall we move on? Oh boy, we got plenty to say about this one, Tyrek.
Here we go.
Al here is going to rage, because he has... let's just say he has a very high regard when it comes to G1. Go ahead.
Alright, this is what I want to say.
Here we go.
Speak a little slower for the speaker, please.
Yeah. With G4 Tyrek, there's nothing to this guy's character besides he wants to steal magic, get really big, and blow stuff up. He blew up the movie, turned into a centaur. And the thing is, it's like there were interesting things about it. I mean, he outsmarted Discord, but it's like to the end of, I want to turn into a kaiju and blow stuff up. And it's like...
He was more interesting when he was smaller and weaker, that's certainly true.
That's the thing. It's like, as he got bigger and more powerful, he got less interesting because he was nothing but a brute. And... I mean, the thing about the G1 Tyrek is obviously he was first, he was visceral, he was going to cut off Spike's head just to demonstrate his frustration. He's voiced by the narrator for Transformers. But the thing is, now obviously the Night That Never Ends was taken by Nightmare Moon, but he was also the corruptor. His castle was a corruption, his world was a corruption, his foot soldiers were corruptions. You could have done something with that in which the end game for G4 Tyrek was to take over Equestria's magic and remake Equestria in his own twisted image, if that would have given Brave a sense of danger, because like, now the ponies didn't have their magic, but otherwise didn't seem all that worse for wear. I mean, Erebus was a magic stealer, and it's like, he didn't just take something from you, he drained your soul. Erebus's victims were legitimately sick, and the people in the Horses of Greyvale were practically zombies.
For those who don't know, the Tyrek that we know now in G4, I'd say he draws more inspiration from another G1 villain named Erebus, who could steal and absorb shadows from living beings, drain them, which, as he said, essentially drain them of their soul and make himself more powerful. And that's essentially what Tyrek that we know now is. Now, personally, even though I love the G1 Tyrek because he's just so menacing and so threatening and so just creepy in a way, you just do not want to cross him, I kind of like G4 Tyrek too, for different reasons, admittedly. He's very kind of surprisingly strategic in his forms, especially in the 9th season. He's not a dummy. He's not just muscles. I kind of could imagine him as some sort of warlord or centurion or something. Like, he knows what he's doing. And like you said, he outsmarted Discord essentially twice. So yeah, he is threatening.
Yeah, but like I said, it's like, he's strategic when he's weak, but the stronger he gets, the less strategic he gets. And like I said, he was nothing more than a big brute for Twilight to fight in the end.
Yeah, but you know what we didn't get with Gen 1 Tyrek? We didn't get Tyrek lifting weights. That's what we didn't get with Gen 1 Tyrek.
G1 Tyrek was definitely more straightforward. G1 Tyrek eventually would be the inspiration for Nightmare Moon. Obviously without the sister relationship, but that's a different story. Speaking of relationships, I'm so sad we didn't get Scorpan in the show. I'm so sad. I was so waiting. I was so wanting him.
Yeah, but they had, actually, with Scorpan, they were doing something new with the idea they were brothers, so I would certainly want to see that family tree. Well, in G1, Scorpan was a human prince he captured and turned into a mutant hell beast, because that's what he does to everything.
Corruption.
Yeah. His Rainbow of Darkness?
Yes. He used his Rainbow of Darkness to create corruptions. He turned birds and butterflies into the foot soldiers and the Stratodons. He turned Scorpan into this demon. He turned the ponies into those
dragons.
His castle in Rome, used to be a verdant field, and when the Rainbow of Darkness is absorbed and he's killed, everything reverts to what it was.
Yeah, I mean, he was going to appear in the movie, I've heard, but that got scrapped, so I figured, maybe they'll save him for a future season. Well, that didn't happen, and it's especially weird because it has been said he was good friends with Starswirl the Beard, and when Starswirl came back, we were thinking, so will Scorpan come back sometime? I mean, that would be a good way for them to reconnect. Didn't happen, so that's a shame. Oh well, yeah.
Their backstories are different, but Scorpan did play a similar narrative role in G4.
Yeah,
that is true.
He starts out as a bad guy, but he ultimately sides with the ponies and works with them to bring down Tyrek.
True.
Yeah,
let's move on. Let's move on. I think we're talking about him too much. Here's another one that I feel the same way about Tyrek. Very different, but I like them both for those different reasons. I mean, I just love both of the SMOOZEs, and I was excited to see him come back.
That's not the SMOOZE.
Yes, it is.
Very different ideas.
No, it's the best.
Okay, here's the thing. The original SMOOZE was this behemoth, this flood that would just destroy lands, and if you were to make contact with it, you would either drown or you'd become it would suck out all the positivity out of you. It would just make you negative. And it was just this wave, this being that you could not stop. Nothing can stop the SMOOZE after all. I love that song, by the way. So catchy. Best song in the movie, by the way.
Yeah, Worst story very different too.
Worst,
That
yeah.
was brewed in a volcano.
Yeah. Worst.
Yeah, and like I said, it was decay incarnate because it was made from like mildew, mold, rust. You know, just all this
Ugliness.
death and decay. You know, given form, and then you compare it to a mountain of Nickelodeon slime.
Yeah, and I like this SMOOZE too. Obviously, he's not the massive threat that we know from the original, and he's not supposed to be. He's not trying to be. He's essentially Discord's pet, roommate, something like that.
Friend from college?
Friend from college.
Yeah, friend. Yeah, that's it.
Yes.
And he comes in and causes trouble because the only reason why Discord brought him to begin with was to make Fluttershy jealous.
Yeah.
And he has an appetite for shiny things. I pray he never goes to the Crystal Empire. Then he'll become the SMOOZE that we all know and love.
We finally goes. Also, I'm kind of disappointed because, you know, looking at the original SMOOZE, you could tell that the 1986 movie was directed by Michael Jones because you could definitely see the Jim Henson inspiration in the eyes and how it moves and stuff. This one doesn't have eyes, like, at all.
It was trying to be more cute, honestly.
Yeah, so they're going for cute, obviously.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny because, like, you guys don't. I mean, I know Al doesn't like the new one because it's not the same thread that we know from the original. But here's the question: Would you rather him try to be threatening but not do as a good job, or just do something completely different? And well, they went with completely different. Why do the same but not do it as well if you could just do something completely different with a different interpretation?
Why are you calling it the SMOOZE? I mean,
That's a good question. And of course, if they were to call it something else, if they were to call it something like the Great Green Grime or something like that, I mean, that could work just fine. But then you'd have some people thinking, well, we already have the SMOOZE in our backlog. Why not just use them again and just reinterpret them?
But it's not even the right color.
But you know what? They've already established that there's multiple universes, and maybe this is just this universe's version of the SMOOZE.
I mean, after all, they've reincarnated the ponies in so many different ways. Why not the SMOOZE?
And that's the thing. This looks like something sneezed out by a dragon with a head cold.
With that said, let's move on to Somnambula, who has no connection with each other at all. This baffles me. For those who don't know, in the original, in G1, Somnambula is this evil witch that had a magic singing bird that could hypnotize ponies to come to her, and so she can drain them of their youth to make her young eternally. And she could she could hypnotize creatures in general, including unicorns, so she could steal their magic, and ponies in general to steal their youth so that she could stay young and everything. And she could use her powers to make their dreams reality so that they would never leave her. The Somnambula that we know now is nothing like that at all. She's the pony that was one of the ancient pillars that defended Equestria. She comes from, well, Somnambula. She's very Egyptian-styled Pegasus that everyone loves. You all love Somnambula, don't you? Yeah, they do. So yeah, but which makes it there is no connection. Why are they both called Somnambula then? That's weird.
Yeah, that's my question. I mean, actually, one of the things that's interesting is looking back at G1 Somnambula, she was Mother Gothel before Mother Gothel. I mean, she was
basically imagine her as Mother Gothel from Tangled. Essentially that.
Instead of having Rapunzel, she basically, you know, Somnambula is based on somnambulism or sleepwalking, which is essentially what she did to her victims. You know, she would have her canary hypnotize them into this sleepwalking state, and she would basically put them into a dream world while she drained them of her youth to keep herself young. But there's nothing sleepwalky about
the Somnambula that we know now in G4. Honestly, I think what they might be going for is the fact that, well, is because she put him on blindfold. She blindly walks with hope to save the prince. I think that's what they're going for.
They might as well call it Michael
And also on a side note, they in the season 6 premiere, what was it called, the Crystalling. They briefly mentioned Somnambula as like being a spellcaster or something, but I guess that was thrown out the window. Same thing happened with Mage Meadowbrook in the season 5 premiere. It's kind of weird how this works, but yeah, there's just almost pretty much no connection, and I don't know if I would even call this a reference. I think they just made this. I think this is coincidence.
Well, I think they heard the name and thought it was cool, and they just used it.
Let's move on. We have many things to say. Okay. Let me say this right now. I know this is kind of redundant for me to say at this point, but we're going to have to spoil the season 9 finale for this. So there's your warning. If you don't want to be spoiled for the season 9 finale, leave now. But with that said, let's move on. These are both. This has got to sting. This had to sting some fans. Okay, let's talk about the original first. The original is just basically an evil ram sorcerer who ruled over, who was part of this ancient dark city called Tambalon.
Actually, you could argue that he was actually more kind of a slave to Tambalon because it held a sword of Damocles over his head, in which he had to keep the main bell from being wrong, because if it was wrong, it would destroy his own magic. So
yeah, his weakness was the bell.
Yeah, and he was tied to the city when it returned to the land of darkness and took him with them.
Yeah. Quick question. Everyone describes him as a necromancer, but we don't see anything like that. So I wonder, where did that come from?
I have no idea where that came from. I think someone just said, it's like, it's people who think they're smarter than they really are, they don't really
like
understand.
us.
Fan fiction.
It's like how now suddenly, whenever you have fiction that has a boarding school in it, they compare it to Hogwarts, and it's like, dude, boarding schools have been around a lot longer than Hogwarts, you idiots.
Also, it's good to take a fact that Grogar was so OP that he captured basically all the ponies, including sea ponies and flutter ponies.
Yeah.
The ponies were the ponies that the ponies were like, hey, help us with this super OP boss, and they'd be like, the flutter ponies would swoop in and be like, we'll save you with our other flutter, and Grogar was like, nah, I capture you.
Grogar was pretty much near unstoppable. So yeah. And then we come to the new Grogar, who had here's a funny joke. A few years ago, we did a panel about just looking over the different things G1 had to offer, and then we came to Grogar, and I said at the time, this was like back 2016, I think, 2016. Yeah. And now the villain that I'm pretty sure everyone in this room agrees wants to see in Friendship is Magic, and that is Grogar.
I want to see him in Friendship is Magic.
Yeah, Al is very skeptical because he wasn't a big fan of T-Rex's depiction in Friendship is Magic. I liked him okay, though. So I would be curious to see what they do with Grogar if they ever decide to do anything with him. And I mentioned that Grogar probably at this time is the villain that everyone wants to see return for Friendship is Magic. Now Al here was more skeptical about that because he didn't like how they handled T-Rex, and they thought they would do the same thing with Grogar. Then we got Grogar. He returned in the season 9 premiere, and he was awesome. He paid a lot. He was very threatening. There's no Bray, there's no Tambalon, but his essential character is still there. And even the design I think is really nice. It's really cool. And with that in mind, I was thinking, okay, we're going to do another panel similar to this, and I'm going to poke fun at Al for doubting me and thinking they wouldn't do a good job of Grogar. And then we got the twist, and Al was right. Why do you have to be right?
Because I am clairvoyant through sarcasm.
Yes, I can imagine that, especially for G1 fans. I have to imagine. I mean, granted, I never saw it coming, but at the same time, and I can see why they did it. It makes sense in the story, but at the same time, yeah, for fans of Grogar, that had to hurt.
Yeah, at least you know Grogar was real because the bell is real.
Yeah, that is true. Grogar, he's not made up. He's not made up. He does exist somewhere. We just don't know what.
My headcanon is that he's at the old folks' home, just playing shuffleboard with other people.
It's just like, you know what, screw this. I'm going to enjoy my golden years.
With Celestia and Luna.
Yeah, but I'm sorry. I'm the guy who guessed that they were going to do Yakistan, and when I said, as long as they didn't do Karbami, they'd be fine. And sure enough, they did Karbami and Yakistan. And
what was that, Karbamia?
We're getting to another one of my sarcastic foundations that came through.
Sarcastic.
Yeah. Oh, man. Just... The Grogar that... I mean, okay. We all know it was just a twist, but... up until that point, I did like him. Now I heard someone say...
It's awesome. I'm like, oh, man, they're trying to do it right, and then it's Discord, and I'm just like, really?
Yeah. I mean, so let's move on, because just... I know Springheart has some things to say about this one. The BREEZIES.
Okay, so BREEZIES are from Generation 3. They are not to be confused with Flutter Ponies. I know some people in the fandom confuse them with Generation 1 Flutter Ponies. They're not the same species. They're from a place called Breezy Blossom. They first appeared in the direct-to-TV movie Princess Pomona. They're about the size of like a small cat or like a swallow bird, which is kind of confusing because the first opening segment of the movie, they're in Breezy Blossom and flying around with these giant flowers, but then they put them beside ponies and they look like the size of a small cat. So then you have to put into your mind of, okay, could the animators not draw them the size of like a tiny
insect
little bug, or was it just like, okay, we have to draw them big so that visually the kids don't have to squint their eyes at the screen for like 90 minutes or however long this movie is.
Size and consistency was definitely not their forte.
Yeah, then you have to wonder if Breezy Blossom just has giant plants.
Probably.
So, Gen 3 Breezies were super OP. They could fly with their wings wet, and 3 of them could lift a full-grown pony while their wings were wet. Alright, super OP. Oh, and they also liked to garden. Fun fact.
G4's BREEZIES are the complete opposite. They are actually very small and delicate and neat and are helpless in the normal pony world.
Yes. They also grew. Gen 4. They have. They live in Breezy Village, which is an isolated hollow that's connected to Equestria in a portal. They have their own language.
I love it.
They're really, like, Gen 4, they're really cool, but also it's like they saw the Gen 3 version, they're like, that's too OP. Let's take away all their abilities and make them super weak and helpless. So, they are super...
I like they're making their wings bigger.
Yeah, they're really beautiful. Like, I love the design.
The original BREEZIES, flap their wings, fluttered like any bug would, whereas the BREEZIES in the new G4, float, glided along the breeze.
Oh yeah,
hence the name BREEZIES.
The wings are almost like sails. And actually, that thing I really liked was the fact that they used, I think they used tracing paper for the sound effect of their wings moving. Just to give you an idea of just how delicate those things are. But it's more like they were sails than actual wings that they used to ride the wind on.
Yeah, because you just move your hand and you could literally send a Gen 4 Breezy off its course. Like, it was kind of ridiculous. And they migrated on the wind, which activated their magic and protected the pollen that they used when migrating. Like, they literally relied on this breeze to take pollen back to Breezy Village that they depended on. It was kind of like their survival. Thank goodness that Equestria creates its own weather, because if they didn't, Breezies would be extinct right now in Gen 4.
Yeah. Okay, I want to ask the audience this really quick. How many of you guys actually like the Breezies in Generation 4? I got some hands, so they're not totally despised. A lot of people did not like the Breezies. I'm okay with them. I like them. I thought they were cute.
They were cute. I mean, if I had the option of flutter ponies, I would love them to have flutter ponies.
Yeah, actually, I would like to see flutter ponies.
But let's move on. Here's another species: sea ponies.
Woo! Color panel.
Shoo-be-doo, boop-boop-be-doo.
This is a tough one because I like the originals, but I like the new ones too. I thought they were really cool. I love their world. I love their backstory. I love their design.
Yeah, but the thing is, this is also kind of a GROGAR issue where technically there aren't sea ponies in G4 because these aren't really sea ponies. These are hippogriffs.
They're hippogriffs. The original, they're sea horses. In the new one, they're more like mermaids.
Yeah, and it's weird because if you go onto in the comics and this, there's like sea ponies and then there's mirrors, so it's like technically two species. Like it's confusing.
Right, and they had they also had a light novel where they had a more seahorse-shaped sea pony.
Yeah.
Probably not canon by now.
Yeah, probably not canon.
Yeah.
So,
the comic's probably not canon either.
So in Gen 1, the ponies, or the sea ponies, were like brightly colored seahorse, as you can see here on the screen. They lived in lakes and rivers. They liked to play games with the ponies, like water polo and volleyball. They first appeared in Rescue at Midnight Castle.
which is where we got the famous song.
Yeah, and they could not live outside of water.
Yeah.
They were screwed.
I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed we never got a Shooby-Doo reference in G4 ever. That's a shame because I really wanted to hear that. But one small thing is still a good song. What do you think, Starbat? Which do you prefer, the original Seahorse Sea Ponies or the ones that we have now in Friendship's Magic?
Well, like you said earlier, it is kind of a tough one, but I think just in terms of aesthetic appearance, I think I do prefer the G4 versions, just because the mermaid look just flows a lot better.
Yeah,
I do really appreciate the origin in G1.
Yeah, that's true. What's next? This is a fun one. Gusty. I don't think we have much to say in terms of the new one because, well, again, we never actually see her. Though parts of me were hoping. I mean, this was just a pipe dream for me, but I was kind of hoping that maybe at some point we would see, in some form, whether it be flashback or not, we would see the Gusty the Great in Friendship's Magic, and she would be voiced by Nancy Cartwright, which would have been amazing. I knew that wasn't going to happen, but that would have been amazing. Because the original was voiced by Nancy Cartwright, who we all know as Bart Simpson.
Yeah, but one of the things that's really funny is how they chose Gusty. It would be like if in the new Transformers, they said that Prowl killed Unicron.
That is another interesting thing in the original story with Grogar, Tambalon, and everything. Gusty played hardly a role at all into defeating Grogar, whereas in Friendship's Magic, she was the sole pony to do it, who banished him with the bell.
And the thing is, I think they're like, who goes with Great well? And they figured Gusty the Great, and that's how they did it.
I mean, Gusty is great. Gusty is really cool.
But in the actual Return of Tambalon story, her most significant contribution was she teleported herself to the City of the Damned off screen. Yeah,
I mean, we don't really get a good personality. We don't really know her personality in the new one because all we've heard is that Grogar, or quote unquote Grogar, says that she was what did he say? He said she was self-righteous.
You would see it that way.
Which could go with G1's Gusty. She definitely inflated sense of ego.
G1's the original Gusty was more. the original Gusty was more was the bruiser. She was the one that liked to just punch something to get things done, and she had power with wind with her magic and everything. I don't think that was ever established in Friendship is Magic. I think she was just a powerful unicorn in general.
Well, it's kind of like her trademark relates to wind.
Yeah.
And I think Discord did describe her magic as being wind-based.
Being what? Oh yeah. You might be right because there is an enchanted wind that guards the mountain.
Right.
So that could be hers. So season 10 maybe.
It definitely has a wind theme to it.
Yeah, she's using the same shampoo as the princesses.
True. She had shoes. According to the illustration, she had a flowy mane. So that would be interesting to see. I'd like to see more. I mean, I've seen fan art of Gusty the Great, and I think it's really cool. So, oh well. Let's go over some Easter eggs. These aren't exactly direct. These obviously are references to past generations, but they aren't as intricate or as involved in the stories enough to really be considered references. They're basically just those little details that you might see or miss. So let's begin. This one I did not catch the first time until a friend of mine pointed this out. Do you see that little thing in the background there? Right there? For those who don't know, that was the original G1 villain, Squirk. At first I wasn't sure, but the fact that it's a red octopus with an evil grin, and it's the yellow hair that made it it's clear. It's Squirk. Yeah, for those who are not aware, Squirk in the original was a millennium-old octopus thing that used an ancient stone called the Flash Stone in order to basically carve the earth to his will and flood the earth.
One of the trending villains.
One of the things I realized, he's even got the dots. You see the dots on the head?
Yeah. It's a definite reference.
Yeah,
definitely a reference if they went that far.
Yeah, speaking of the Flash Stone, Flash Stone, though, that's another Easter egg. In the season 9 finale, GROGAR, quote unquote, is bringing in a new artifact that he's going to use to conquer Twilight and her friends. That artifact is the Flash Stone. So season 4 onward, the staff just went all out, really started to go out with the past generation references, especially G1.
It's awesome.
So yeah, that is really cool. I mean, I would have liked to have seen it in action, though I do wonder if he made it up or if that actually is a Flash Stone. Parts of me wants to say it actually is because, well, Squirk apparently existed at some point. So, could be interesting. Next, this one's a little more obvious. You see the girl on the right there. I think you all know who that is. Yep. Excuse me. Yes, Cindy?
Sorry, what did the Flash Stone do? I haven't seen it in G1.
The Flash Stone. Oh yeah, you didn't. Yeah, in G1.
The Flash Stone. Basically, the Flash Stone was an ability to exert your will onto the world.
Like just.
I mean,
like Discord, sort of.
Squirt used it to flood Dream Valley. Basically they said it's a way to. Basically, it's a matter manipulator.
It's basically just a matter manipulator. You could just blast or like I said, he basically used it to just carve the Dream Valley to make it a flood.
It was ultimately considered an artifact too powerful for any one person to have, and so even when the good guys acquired it, they destroyed it.
Yeah, well, actually, they used it to restore Dream Valley. Because they used it to repair the damage. This thing does whatever you need it to do. It's
a terraformer. It's a terraformer.
Yes,
It's an OP weapon.
Definitely. It's actually probably the most OP artifact in Naruto 20 history. Even more so than Rainbow Light.
Yeah, probably. Back to this again. The girl on the right there, I'm sure you all know who that is. That is Megan from the original series.
Yeah.
She's looking a lot younger for some reason.
Well, she is 13, and the country girls are what, 16?
Yeah, she's
Allegedly.
That would make sense.
yeah.
It wasn't mentioned to be more Apple Bloom aged. That was just my opinion.
More Apple Bloom age? Yeah, maybe.
And in Equestrian Girls, it kind of seems that way.
Yeah, that could be true, because, I mean, yeah, the CMC and Equestrian Girls could be seen as, like, 12, 13-year-olds, probably.
Yeah.
Especially with the ad problem.
Yeah, I mean, I figured that, well, my guess is that the CMC started out as 8 in the beginning of the show, and by the end they were like 11 or 12.
Yeah. By the way, my mistake. I probably should have pointed out where to find these references. Let's go back a little bit. This Easter egg right here was from the Season 9 episode, A Horseshoe In. The next one was... What was the next one? Yeah, here we are. This was, like I already said, the Season 9 finale. And here was in the Equestria Girls special Roller Coaster of Friendship. And, yeah.
For those who don't know who Megan is like the main human from Generation 1.
Essentially, she basically just was the audience stand-in.
Stand-in, yeah, exactly.
And she held the rainbow of light.
She held the rainbow of light.
Locket.
Yeah,
just
and
the
just
mother character.
yeah, basically just sort of the den mother to the ponies. To the ponies.
The den mother.
Next, this one is a little bit more questionable, but we knew this was going to be in the show, but it was changed for reasons we've already explained before, relevancy. And it was never said in the show, but more merchandise has made it very obvious. The Wonderbolt there on the left is Surprise. And we can't really say they have a similar personality. I mean, the Surprise in the original was a prankster. Loved to mess around.
She was Tigger. She was Tigger in female pony form.
Pretty much. I mean, she was originally going to be what we know now as Pinkie Pie, but that was changed, like I just said, relevancy reasons. But I would have liked to have seen Pinkie with wings. It would be even more frightening.
Yeah, there would be no escape. There would be absolutely no escape.
Yeah, so, yeah, in the new show, Surprise, as far as we know, is just a Wonderbolt. But we don't really know much about her personalities. So.
Yeah, the Wonderbolt sucks, so.
I mean, Surprise is probably the least egregious of all of them. So, and Soren's cool too.
Yeah, Soren has a constant kick me sign on him. So.
He only likes pie. That's about all we know.
Yeah, like pie.
The Wonderbolts kind of confuse me because they're like, we're gonna put on a bunch of shows, but I'm like, aren't you supposed to be the Air Force? Like, I don't quite understand them. So
questions. That's been questions that have been asked for years, and there's still no clear answer. But that's
supposed to be the Blue Angels, but I don't think the people in the show know exactly what the Blue Angels are. For one thing, you're only in the Blue Angels for 2 years, and then you go back to active duty.
So anyway, back to Surprise. Yeah, I like the original, and she pretty much was the pony that was the closest to the boy in the original show, Danny.
Yeah.
And for those who don't know, do any of you know Jen Blake, the comic artist? No, she was here I think a year or two ago in this convention. But yeah, she loves Danny and Surprise. She loves to draw them together.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, look up her DeviantArt. It's great.
I'm just realizing now that like Gen 4 ponies are like not allowed to have bows on their tails.
Oh yeah, that was mostly just a G1 thing that they had bows on their tail.
That was just they're thinking about it.
It'd be so cute.
Yeah, and actually, it would serve a practical purpose. I mean, it would keep their tails under control.
Yeah.
Yeah, but budget though.
How would they?
Well, probably some pony else. Who knows? Or magic, or maybe as David probably suggested, the bows themselves are magic. So that's an interesting idea. But here's one that's here's an Easter egg that's a little more vague, but I think it's pretty clear. It's a reference. In the episode, what was it called? The Point of No Return in season 9. Twilight gets a lot of her stuff from her. What was it from? Her old From her old home, and she takes out a Star Swirl figure and literally says, "Hey, look, it's my G1 Star Swirl figure." And immediately we all knew, like, yeah, that's a shout out to the collectors. Speaking of which, I don't think is anyone here a collector? You in the back. What ponies have you collected?
I just got the ones that G4 ponies are based on.
Oh, I see. There's someone here who's only collected. And he has Fizzy. Good for you, because Fizzy is probably my favorite G1 pony. Is Fizzy? I love Fizzy.
I have a Gusty somewhere.
Yeah, but yeah, out of us here, I think Al here is the only collector. Am I right?
Probably.
Do you collect anything, Springheart? Starbat?
I've got a figure of Discord, but that's about it.
Yeah.
I have a Gusty somewhere. I don't know where she is.
Yeah. How many of these Easter eggs do we have?
A few left. Not too many. We're close to the end. Let's move on to this one. Took me by surprise. Okay. Some of you might not even know what this is. This is from the Equestria Girls short, a Choose Your Own Adventure short, costume conundrum in which Fluttershy doesn't know what to wear to a Halloween party, and if you choose Applejack, she gives her the idea to wear a POSEY costume. POSEY, for those who don't know, was the inspiration for Fluttershy.
Yeah. Fairly obviously. And she's more about plants than
Yeah,
animals.
she had a love for plants and gardening, whereas the Fluttershy we know now has a love for animals. Bit ironic, because go ahead. Yeah, you say it, Al. You love to say it.
Yeah. I'd have to say, if Posey ever found herself in Fluttershy's college, she would have a strong wish to grab a gun and shoot every single bit of her in there.
Yeah. Posey would not back down in booting out any potential pests to her garden. So yeah, and in fact, wasn't Fluttershy in Friends of Benedict originally going to be Posey, or what?
She was originally going to be Posey, though obviously vastly different, which she's afraid of animals when
and became a Pegasus.
In the original cartoon, she hates those leaf munching little you know what.
What's next? Okay, this one is fun. More mismatched tails. Springheart's weakness. But yeah, this is a fun one. In the episode Fame and Misfortune in season 7, was it? Yeah, it was. It was season 7.
Yeah.
These two are TOOLA and Coconut Cream. So let's go over TOOLA first, who both were from G3.
Actually, she was another member of the Core 7.
The Core 7, you mean?
Same diff. Anyway, she was part of the Core 7, but she wasn't used until obviously this reference. Obviously her thing was art, obviously with her paintbrush key mark and all that stuff. So
yeah, so yeah, and we also have Coconut Cream. And by the way, the fact that they both have the same poses in both pictures is purely coincidental.
Totally coincidental. Oh.
Yeah, I like the. I like both these kids and the role that they played in Fame and Misfortune. I have to do some research and maybe even one day ask M.A. Larson if he purposely put these two ponies in just as a fun little jab at the Brony fandom, because G3. I have to wonder if that was intentional.
Yeah, because I think this was really supposed to air season 5, and I think season 5 was really the heights of the G3 hate amongst the Brony fandom.
I feel like they included these two ponies to be like, hey, you can draw your ponies however you want. Do you want the tails and the manes not to match? Go for it. Your C can be as bright and as outrageous as you want. Go for it. Oh, why did you put that back up? No,
Yeah.
I want to fix it.
Okay, I think we better move on before
Yeah, let's move on. I think that's all we have. I think that's all you have. That's all, folks. But before you leave, yeah, before you go, I'm sure some of you probably have some questions for us. I chose these pictures on purpose.
That's so appropriate.
For those who don't know, like, you're probably wondering, like, who, like, did Al draw that picture of himself as the manta ray? No, that was me. I made that design for him.
Yes, thank you very much for it.
I
So
could,
what do you
yeah.
guys want to know?
Yeah, okay, so does anyone have any questions for either of us or all of us regarding anything we've discussed, or just anything MLP related in general? Yeah, you.
I noticed you made a point about pointing out the bows on the pony's tails in G1.
Right?
Those actually mean something in real life.
Okay, what is it? This guy is telling us there actually is a reason for the bow ties tied onto the tails of the ponies. So what's the reasoning?
Certain colors mean different things. Like one color, and I don't know which. I didn't grow up around horses, but there's a certain color that means this horse kicks.
Yeah.
Approach it from behind. Others mean like this is a gelding, this is a racehorse, this is.
Oh yeah. That is interesting. He for those who couldn't hear, he said that the reason why they have bow ties in their tails to begin with is sort of a marking. They sort of tell you like, if it's this color, that means don't get behind them because they like to kick, or this is a racehorse. It's a kind of branding in a way. So that's the reasoning. Yeah, I wasn't fully aware of that.
Wow, so it's more directly inspired by horses and
yeah, that's
equestrian culture essentially in the real world.
Yeah. But yeah, that's the reason behind it. Any other questions? You there in the front.
I just want to comment. That's actually why Applejack's little tail thing is red. It's because she kicks.
Is that true?
Yeah, that is exactly true.
I really wonder if that was intentional. Or,
it is.
Is it?
Yeah.
Wow.
I watched it in like a YouTube video or read it in a documentary a while ago. But
wow.
Yeah, it was. She's got a red thing on her tail to make her little, like bun thing.
Yeah.
Because she kicks.
Cool. Yeah. For those who didn't hear, Applejack's tail band is red because she likes to kick. That's an accurate representation.
This is so cool. You guys are teaching us new things.
Yeah, you guys are teaching us. I thought we knew a lot about previous generations, or you guys seem to be very interested in horse facts in general. Probably more than any of us ever are. Yes, you.
Okay. For the whole panel, are there any early generation ponies you would have liked to have seen show up in Gen 4? For me, it was Sprightly. She's the only early Gen pony I have.
For those who didn't hear, he's asking us what previous generation pony would you have liked to have seen return in Friendship is Magic, and his answer was, what was it? Bright Sprite.
Bright
Sprightly. Who's Bright Sprightly?
She's a Dream 3 pony. I think she's the one who had the issue that her horn was Sigil Beacon.
Her home was what?
Her horn lit up.
Oh, her horn lights up. Cool. Yeah, that's interesting. Okay, as for who I'd want, well, I did mention I would have loved to have seen Gusty actually appear in the show, but I sort of knew that wasn't going to happen. Any of the G1 ponies, like Wind Whistler and Fizzy, if any of them were to return, that would just be wonderful.
Yeah, I would have liked to have seen Wind Whistler just break Twilight Sparkle's brain.
For those who don't know, Wind Whistler is very much the logical pony from the original show.
Yeah, she was the intellectual, but she actually knew what she was doing. Well, with Twilight, I think really she was more aping the intellectual role than actually being an intellectual.
Yeah, I personally was never a big fan of how they made Daring Do into a real character when she started out as a fictional character in the fictional universe. I feel like they could have used North Star for G1 as the adventure pony because she was all about world travel
and she also had a compass as a cutie mark.
Exactly.
Well, I always thought that what they should have done is they should have made the author a legitimate archaeologist, in which her job was to go to digs, find artifacts, and research and analyze them. And what Daring Do was a romanticized version of her life that she does to relieve stress and also to fund her digs, so that you can kind of have it both ways, in which the author is a real life archaeologist, but the fictional elements of Daring Do would remain fictional, because sadly, every episode that featured Daring Do from that point on just further twisted something else to try to justify this completely nonsensical plot twist.
I think the one pony I would have liked to be in Generation 4 would have been Rose Dust the Flutter Pony. She looks a lot like Fluttershy, and I think it would have been a great an episode to introduce Flutter Ponies. One of the episodes, Fluttershy had gotten permission to go, observe Breezies, I believe it was, and it would have been great if she had gotten permission, while she was going to go observe them, if she had stumbled upon Flutter Ponies and had been mistaken as Rose Dust because of their color palette. It could have been a whole episode,
True.
Would have been beautiful.
Yeah, or what if they did something kind of like a Prince and the Pauper, which
They switch places.
Rose Dust swaps places with Fluttershy, which she swaps their wings to give Fluttershy her Flutter Pony wings, and she gets Pegasus wings, and she goes to try to live Fluttershy's life, and Fluttershy is taken and she's treated as their queen. And she, just do that. That would have been a fun episode.
Exactly. That's who I would like.
Yeah. So yeah. I mean, we already got an answer. Okay. You.
Yeah, I was gonna say the whole Daring Do thing.
Yeah.
It may be a reference to this. It's a rather obscure movie. It's called Jake Speed.
Jake Speed.
Yeah, where the hero is a Pulp Fiction character that actually exists. Basically, in this world, these guys actually exist and they do their adventures not for any reward, but just for the adventure and doing another book. So basically, I can see where they got the idea for Daring Do being an actual character, and basically the author is just a pseudonym.
I'll have to look into that because I've never heard of that.
Oh, it's great.
But like I said, part of the issue was just it was so poorly executed, and every episode they went back to it, it's like they had to twist the logic even further until it finally broke when they finally put the whole thing to bed.
I'll admit, when Daring Do was first revealed to be real, I was kind of open to the idea, but yeah, every episode after that, it slowly started to dip more and more, and just really, something's really started to become more questionable. Though I'll look up, what was it called, Jake Speed?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll look into that and see what that's all about, because I've never heard of that.
Well, the thing, it's a plot that works for a standalone movie. It doesn't work for a series with a cohesive world. Let me just say that.
Yeah. Oh, well. Any other questions? Yeah, you.
I apologize if this steps on any toes.
Go ahead.
Were there any Easter eggs or references from Generation 2 in Generation 4?
Not that I know of.
Generation 2 didn't have an animation.
Yeah.
There was a computer game. It was mostly just a
Friendship Gardens. Yeah, G2 never had a show or animations or anything. The best that it had was a PC game called Friendship Gardens, which is basically just sort of it's kind of like a Tamagotchi or something, like a pet sim or something, where you take care of your pony and everything.
But and the thing is, I can't exactly. I mean, I suppose if we went through, we might find particular ponies, but yeah, there's no.
The closest reference I could give you is if you look at some of the pony body shapes, Celestia has a body shape to the toy line in Gen 2, but that would be the closest thing. And I don't know if that's a coincidence or if they're referencing it.
I think that's just coincidence. I think that's just to show how great and regal she is as an alicorn and everything. But yeah, That's pretty much the most I've got, because I'm not really too familiar with any names from Generation 2, honestly, because G2 was, unfortunately, probably the least successful generation.
Well, it was only it was in North America for like 1 year, and then it had 2 more years in Europe, but then it was quickly replaced with Generation 3. And Generation 3 was when My Little Pony returned to being a globally recognized brand instead of being a more regional European brand, which it had been through most of the 90s.
Yeah. Do you have anything else to say? No?
Maybe I was thinking of I saw it on YouTube once. I did My Little Pony Tales, maybe this was.
Oh, My Little Ponytails. Okay, for those who don't know, because this is a common mistake. Everyone thinks that My Little Ponytails is Generation 2. It's not. It's essentially a G1 spin-off, if you want to call it that.
Yeah. Actually, well, what Tales was in 92, 93, there were plans to do, basically, they were going to reboot the franchise and simplify things. They were going to go back to all Earth ponies, and they created what they called the 7 character ponies, who were Bon Bon, Bright Eyes, Starlight, Clover, Sweetheart, Melody, and Patches. And the idea was to do a more, teenage, well, actually there were 10, but a more, basically ponies living as humans kind of thing.
Yeah,
So
that's my biggest beef with Tails, is the fact that you could replace the ponies with humans and nothing would change. It's too mundane. It's too pedestrian. It essentially was Equestria Girls before Equestria Girls, except with no magic, as far as we know anyway. Outside of a couple bizarre.
What happened is those toys were not released in North America. My Little Pony ended as a brand in 1992 in North America. It continued into 95 in Europe, starting with these ponies in 93. So
yeah. Took a while for them to really start to get going again. Because okay, let me ask you this: as much as a lot of people like to look down on Generation 3, wasn't it kind of a financial success in terms of toy sales?
Oh, it was. I mean, like I said, it's what returned My Little Pony to global recognition, and in terms of toys, it did very well. The issue was Hasbro told the people who were making the media
To phone it in.
No, they told them, we're trying to appeal to 3 to 6 year olds because they believe that's the prime demographic for the toys. So we want you to write the ponies as 6-year-olds.
Yeah, and eventually let's write them as like 2-year-olds with newborn cuties.
Yeah, with newborn cuties. The nightmare fuel of that. But so, and the thing is, like the printed media of Generation 3
comics and such were a lot better.
It was a lot better. One thing, boy, was it snarky. I mean, there's one in which one of them made tea, and the tea is awful. And basically, the whole thing is how the different ponies got around not having to drink it.
Like dumping it on a plant or something.
Another one distracted her so that she could toss it out a window, and that's so. The printed media, which was not as heavily controlled, probably demonstrated the characters of these ponies a lot better, simply because they didn't need to write them as if they're 6.
Yeah. So any other questions? Oh, you?
I just walked in. Is there any reason why you decided to leave Minty out of Generation 4?
Are you saying this because Minty made a brief background appearance in that holiday short? Is that what you're talking about?
The one that we watched over there? No, she was just my favorite character as a kid.
Oh yeah. Minty probably is the most, probably outside of Rainbow Dash and Pinky, of course, probably is the most recognized G3 pony. Is Minty because of her obsession with socks.
Yeah, she's probably the most single popular G3 pony out there. The reason why they insisted on Pinkie Pie and Rainbow Dash is because pink and rainbows. I think, unfortunately, we're probably going to have Pinkie Pie and Rainbow Dash until the My Little Pony brand is destroyed. So.
Yeah.
I mean, Minty if people want her.
Yeah. I mean, and she eventually did make a background appearance once, so that was nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was there anything else you wanted to mention regarding Minty?
Oh no, me. I was just flashing back to that short. God, the writer-director's sock fetish is just written in there, I'm guessing.
Are you talking about A Very Minty Christmas?
Yes.
That wasn't a short. That was pretty much just a whole movie.
Yeah.
That was a direct-to-disc movie, and she loves socks to the point where she choreographed a huge musical number about how much she loves socks.
Yeah, and now everyone, even today, many people in the Brony fandom love to see ponies wear socks.
The irony.
Yep, it was a great bit of foreshadowing. Does someone else have a question? No? I think that's about it. Yep, I think we're about time. Wow, we actually made it a good time. I thought we were really going to overdo it because of how late I was. But I guess that's all there is to say. Thank you for watching this and for listening to us ramble, and I'm sorry for the mic quality, especially on Al's part. I hope you all could understand what he was saying. We probably should have done Discord. That probably would have been better. We need to test that. I mean, do y'all have Discord?
Yeah, we'll in the future.
Yeah.
Yes, I do.
There are times where it sounded fine, and there are times where I actually was wondering whether I should actually ask to supersize those fries, because it kind of sounded like a drive-through speaker.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't know why I didn't have this idea sooner. Are you guys wearing earbuds to keep the feedback down? That might help.
Are you guys wearing headphones, earbuds, stuff like that?
I'm wearing headphones.
I have headphones.
I think they're all wearing headphones.
Well, then,
It's not the feedback. I think it's just the mic. I think it's just the mic quality, and also the fact that Skype, I think, is just not as clear as Discord. I think. But yeah, thank you all for watching. Have fun at the rest of the con, whatever little left there is.
I'm waving.
Bye.
Bye bye.